I need that energy. How you all doing? I love it. Before I start, I want to pose the question. Who benefit from your existence? Who has the advantage because of your presence? The theme of the program, let's make a difference, and you do make a difference. Never walk into that building like you're insignificant. You matter. I don't care what's your role in the school. Anytime you're around a child, it's a teaching moment. You want me to tell you all who had the biggest influence on me in the school? It wasn't the superintendent, and it wasn't the principal, it was a custodian. And it's something about custodians, they know everything they go on in the building. Listen, I already know they got 100 keys right now. But I had this one custodian who told me if I find you on that cut slip, I'm coming to find you. And every day he found me. But it's something what he was doing. See, he was working for outcome, not income. See, when you get that kind of perspective that you're working for outcome, not income, anytime he saw me on that cut slip, he was coming to find me. And let me go on the record by saying this. I think you all as educators should be the highest paid individuals of the country. Why do I feel like you all should be the highest paid individuals in the country? Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. Let me let that sit. Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. There's no way we should be fighting for a pay raise for you all. You all are superheroes to me. But it was this custodian, and it took me a long time to really understand what he was doing. Every time you're around a child, it's a teaching moment. Never walk into that building like you're insignificant. Because you matter. It takes one of you all. See, when I was in the school system, I was an ISS teacher, but you would have thought I was the superintendent every day. Why? Because when I come in that building, my job is to serve. I don't even need a role or position. Just put me in the building. If they ask you, well, what's his job description? Just tell them I am. I am who I need to be for that kid to develop. See, I'm talking about having that kind of perspective. You know who else had the biggest role on me? It was a cafeteria worker. And I used to think they were the meanest women on this planet. They not in it, right? I had this cafeteria worker who told the principal before you suspend him, can he please come to the cafeteria, just let him clean up, just let me talk to him. See, this is a different kind of mindset. She also understood this. When you give me 10 days at home, I never wanted to be in your building in the first place. I'm adapting every day I walk into that building. Every day I walk into your building, I'm outside of my comfort zone, because every day I walked in, I knew I was incompetent. So if I curse you out and I get 10 days at home, and I know what stimulus and response look like, you can only imagine what I'm gonna do to you when I get back. Just imagine if I curse you. You know how many days I get at home for doing that? But you got to understand me from my perspective, and that's what the cafeteria worker was saying. But I go past that, I had a bus driver. Every day she used to see me skipping school, she'll put that thing in park, step down and tell me, not on my watch, sir. Not on my watch. You know, what am I saying right now? They told me it takes a village to raise a child, correct? But what if the village corrupt? Okay, so I'm here today.
All right.
And I do understand that it takes a village to raise a child, but what if the village corrupt? I remember where that quote came from, and that quote stood on accountability. I remember when my grandparents would tell me this: before I get into any trouble, before I make it home, the Sunday school teacher would already give me a whoop. My neighbor would, now let me go on the record, superintendent, I'm not telling them to whoop no kids. But what she was trying to tell me as a community, there's no way that you can damage my neighborhood. There's no way when you're not around your child, when you're not around your parents, the community holding you accountable. There's no way you can do X, Y, and Z. But in today's time, we will watch this kid do it. You know, when I travel this world, I'm in a prison system every day. And the first thing I'm seeing is this kid, 13, 14 years old, judge gave him more time than he'd ever lived. And the first thing I'm saying is that is somebody's neighbor, that is somebody's nephew, that is somebody's student. But the way times are now, if you say something to any kid, it's all on social media. Don't tell me how to raise my child. Why not? Because I need help. I got 2 beautiful daughters and I do not know what I'm doing. But I'm not a perfect parent, I'm a present parent. But you know how I feel if I know that that community outside would do exactly what I would do in a situation. That's what it means by it takes a village to raise a child. You can't be scared of the people you serve. So when I walk into that building, you got to understand, I'm walking in with learned behaviors, learned behaviors. Let me let you all understand this. Let me make sure I'm in the right room. Learned behaviors. I come from an environment they said somebody hit you to do what? Well, I am in the right room. Wait, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. Let me try this one more time. I came from an environment they said somebody hit you to do what? How many of you all, by a show of hands, would allow me to come and hit you right now? You do absolutely nothing. Now, this is my problem with that. Let me let you understand me from my perspective. Not one of you all are willing to do what you ask me to do every day. And now I got to simplify this to the smallest term. Not one adult in this building going to hold yourself to the same standard that you hold me to. Not one of you all said you're willing to do what you're asking me to do. And at this point of life, this is where my brain is still developing. They said the normal male brain is not fully developed till you're 25, 26. I'm 37. I just made it. But I know why we put rules in place, right? And I get it, but I want you to understand me from my perspective now. If I walk away from a fight, you know how many other fights that put me in. And now I got to go back into an environment and they find out that I'm easy to pick on. Do you know what kind of name I get because I walked away and I did exactly what you told me to do? See, it's easy to talk about it. But when you understand me from my core, when you understand me from my essence, and if I really wanted to be disrespectful when the principal give me those 10 days, all I got to really do is go to his office and say, sir, would you do it? Because you all just told me not one person in this building going to hold yourself to the same standard. But you got to understand me from my core. We are dealing with a different generation of kids. Listen, it's a different generation. You know we are dealing with a different generation of kids. It can be 100 degrees outside and they got on what? It can be 3 degrees outside and they got on what? All right, I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the right room. Understanding me from my perspective. Understanding me from my core. That's why I love the SPED acronym. I love special education. You know why? Special education is not a classroom, it's a service. But the S, see them. P, provide for them. E, encourage them. D, direct them. It's something about that SPED acronym that give me S, see them. P, provide for them. E, encourage them. D, direct them. It's something about when you see a kid. I'm not asking you to look at a kid, but when you see a kid, you see within. You see the possibilities. You see what he could be. But that P providing a space for me to operate in. If I'm good with my hands, just put me in a room with operating my gift, and I would do math, I would do science. But you got to make it make sense to me. The E, the encouraging part. Listen, it takes 1 second to tell a kid, you're going to be amazing today. That's a lifetime for him. I remember going in my daughter IEP meetings, and you got to understand something. When I told them, I said, listen, just give her an incentive. Regardless of what the plans and the goals say, just give her an incentive. Listen, it takes you 1 second to tell my daughter, listen, you on the right path, keep going, you got it. That's going to last her all week. Because it's intrinsic. She operates off something different. The words of affirmation, those reminders, I said, principal, give her one thing, just do this for me. If she get on all greens for the whole week, just let her do the morning announcements. You should see my daughter on Wednesdays. Dad, I'm through 2 days away. Listen, I'm almost at my goal because you're giving us something to work towards. But those are the key things. Greatness is small things done well. Greatness is small things done well. You can't take this for granted. Listen, as an educator, how many times you walk into Walmart on Olive Street down the street, right? And you just see your kids, your previous kids, they just run up to you and say, if it wasn't for you. Yeah. You all mean something, but I know what it is. Some of you all want instant gratification. You want him to change right now. Listen, his change may not come for 10 years down the line. But you got to understand, that little kid got greatness in him. It's not one test on this earth. Not one test can show you that kid real genius in 1 week. This kid got real genius. And that same kid, that's why I fight for education across this country. I leave here and I go to Rhode Island. I'm in a different state. I speak to almost 10,000 students a week. And I speak to almost 5,000 educators a week. Do you know how many educators I walk into and they say, man, that boy ain't dumb. He can do the work. He just lazy. He just sorry. What you telling me? He's just not giving you everything he got, right? But that same kid got real genius. You got to push it out of him. You got to make it make sense to him. Because that same kid that you say that can't sit down, that can't do this, he on a football field right now in 100-degree weather, giving coach everything he got. This kid right now, and it's hot in Arkansas. This kid is right now 100-degree weather, shoulder pads, helmet, and he's standing vertical, and he's doing exactly what coach tells him to do, and he will run his head through the wall for coach. And what coach is teaching him right now, resilience, how it is to bounce back when you get down. And this man is willing to fight for coach, but you said he can't sit in that class. Why? He got it, but make it make sense to him. And I had a 6th grade teacher who could sum this up for you. Listen, this lady differentiated. Totally different from every educator I've ever encountered. I got to speak at her retirement dinner, and I said, ma'am, if it wasn't for you. Every morning, I would come in the class, she'd say, young man, you're going to be amazing today. And I'm like, oh, no. Every day she'd get to the board, she'd start working on the board. She'd say, can anybody come? No, my star student, tell me, come on. I'm like, oh, she's going to do this every morning. But she understood if she can't reach my self-esteem, she can't get me to learn. Because I'm coming in with a defense mechanism, and I already thought it was smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart. I thought it was smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart. Why do I think that way? Do you know I got more attention and more validation for not being smart? You know where I come from? And I love Jackson, Mississippi. Don't get this twisted. But they said we were the top 5 in the murder rate in the country. Do you know what environment I grew up in? I was kicked out of 10 schools. You know I got more support for not being smart. You know we call a kid who pulled his pants up and he articulate every word. He say yes sir, no sir, and he wear his book bag on his shoulder. Nerd, lame. And you gotta understand, as a young kid, we are fighting for 3 things: attention, validation, and a connection. If you can seek those 3, you got them. Attention, connection, validation. But I feel like at some point we all want to be heard, seen, or feel like a part of, or just what we're doing is enough. So they are willing to fight for acceptance, and I got more support. Do you think I'm going to come to school now and act like I'm smart? How many kids I see every day and I tell them, dude, you won't even wear a book bag. You don't want your environment to think you're smart. You got to dummy down who you are to go in the room. You're in the wrong room, king. But you got to tell them like that, because you got real geniuses that they just won't perform, right? They got it, but they fight for something that's bigger than them. They fight for their peers. But I had a 6th grade teacher, and she let me understand before I even got in the school system, I went through her first. And she showed me as a 6th grade student that every kid is not the same, and we try to make it like that. Every kid is not the same. One kid, you're going to have to listen. If you get him on page, I said see them. If you get one kid, that leader in your classroom, I told you, my job is to provoke. So if I separate myself from what makes me different, if I get you off task and you get her off task, now it looks like it's the teacher's fault. Who you think really run the kids in your classroom? The leader in this class. But if you build that rapport with him, you ask, okay, how we make this proactive? Put him in a leadership role. Because you see me now. When they see the rapport, I dare you to come in class. When you build a rapport with Tommie, come in there and disrespect that teacher while Tommie in that class. He's not going to have it, but you got to see me, because if you ignore me, that's fine. I'm going to show back up and get down at the end of the year. I'm coming right back. You got to do this day 1. What you allow in August, you're going to see it in May. You got to set the foundation day 1. Day 1. When I do that culture and climate assessment, when I come in your building, I can tell you everything about your building by your front office staff. As administrators, when you teach your front office staff how to make phone calls, all of this is culture and climate. Because that parent that come in, you gotta know how, listen, I can tell if your school chaotic, I can tell if it's busy, I can tell if it's organized. Front office staff, you all have got a real serious job. Everybody in here matters. Not one person, it's not a weak link in this room. It's one, we on one accord. One band, one side.
Yeah.
But what happens is this. First block, she allowed me to come in with my shirt tail out. She allowed me to put my headphones on. She allowed me to not be engaged. She allowed me to go to sleep. But when I get to second block, she played by no means. She wanted me engaged, sitting up straight. It's yes, ma'am. It's no, sir. And now it look like she what? Picking on me. Because when I get to the principal's office, why every other teacher in the building ain't hold me to those standards? Just imagine if you're not even my student and you walk past me, we all follow that expectation. Everything we set in place. And I get so frustrated when I hear, we didn't do that last year. I don't care what you did last year. Every time the administrator, somebody try to put new things in place, it's always that feedback. We didn't do that last. I don't care. Listen, we talk about IQ so much, the intelligence quotient, but we don't talk about AQ, and that's the adaptability quotient, your ability to adapt to change. Change. You want him to be different, you gotta be different. You gotta set the expectations day one. My 6th grade teacher, when I told you, she put me in a leadership role, something so small. She told me, Tommie, when I leave this class, can you take names for me? Yes, I turned to a snitch immediately. I'm going against the coach, I'm writing everybody. People that didn't do anything, I'm just putting their names in. Why? Because you see me. When she needs somebody to run to the office, tell me, I know you're coming back. I usually take that hall pass and I'm going home with it. But for her, I'm bringing it right back. Why she care? She see me. When you see that kid, but you got to understand me from my perspective, right? Perspective is a deep thing. I just became the bestseller at Corwin. Corwin is one of the top educational publishers in the world. You can't just publish a book with them. And they asked me, your book perspective, how you make it different from mindset? We keep talking about mindset, mindset, mindset. What makes perspective different? And I said, man, mindset alters by your mood. Today I feel like working out, tomorrow I don't. What do principals usually do when they try to build a morale around testing? They do a pep rally, right? But what happened to the kid 2 weeks later? He revert back, right? Because you didn't reach his perspective. His perspective is his outlook on education, his morals, his beliefs, his values, his lived experiences. If you can't shift a person's perspective, you can't get him the overall outlook. You can't shift his overall outlook, so when he says school is not for me, he view your classroom like it's a waste of time. But imagine if you shift his perspective on education. School should never feel like I was sentenced to 12 years in education. Because if I don't want to be in your building, my effort don't come with me. But what do normal kids say why they hate school? Because it's what? Boring. But it is boring. Think about what they are comparing it to, not from our perspective. Not our perspective. We know what school is for, right? But from their perspective, okay, let me show you why it's boring. In the morning, there's a no talking policy. When I get in the building, there's a no talking policy. When I get in the box, I got to stop and make sure the line is right. When I get in classroom, there's a no talking policy. When I get in the cafeteria, there's a no talking policy. Then when I get home, I got this long homework assignment, and then I got to get back to school the next day and do it all again. And you don't think school boring? Look at what they are comparing it to. They got Instagram, TikTok. They got everything else to compare school with. So you got to make school engaging for them. Let's move the worksheets. Let's move the desks around. Let's get them engaged. Let's get them outside. Let's do student and student teaching. Let's get them excited. You got to use these things. Listen, I remember going into a football coach class, and he was teaching the wide intercept. I said, Coach, you got all football players in your classroom. Be innovative. I said, they in the neighborhood drawing plays on their hand like this. Teach them how to go up the x-axis, cut across the line. Teach them how to, if it's a negative slope or a positive slope, if you get sacked, that's a negative slope. I said, Coach, get them engaged. You should have watched the football players in there. Coach, catch me on the watch. Catch me on this. Coach, I said, Coach, you got it. Because you want them to learn the way that you teach instead of teaching the way that they learn. You want them to learn the way that you teach instead of teaching the way that they learn. This is a new generation. If TikTok got them, use it. Find out how to make it engaging. I was talking to this young lady the other day. I said, ma'am, go to college. Go to college. She looked at me, she said, sir, why do I need college? She said, my mom is a bartender, sir. My mom make almost $2,000 a week. I said, yeah, you got me then. Because I know what that's congruent to. Well, you know what, that let me see her from my perspective too. Because I came from a house just like her where we didn't talk about education. But what we did talk about, when you turn 18, you better go get a what? That becomes the focus. You really want to help kids? Take them out of survival mode. Because when a kid is operating in survival mode, any means necessary, do you know what I would do at any means necessary? And you trying to teach me the Y equals MX plus B and please excuse my dear unselling? When it's bigger than that for me, When you got a kid that has been through so many ACEs and trauma, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and what that does to the hippocampus, the part of your brain where you store information, and you think that this kid should know right from wrong, but is he thinking cognitively? And this is real research. You can almost relate this to a war vet that has been through so much trauma. When you got a kid that has been through so much trauma, let me make the correlation. It was this war vet. He was walking the street with his wife and a car backfired, and he hit his wife. His wife got tired of that happening, so they seek therapy. This therapist told this guy one thing. She said, "What happened to you?" She didn't say, "Why you do it?" She said, "What happened to you?" She said, "Every day you come in and you can't stop moving." She said, "You always looking out the window, you can't sit down. You know that kid that's in class is doing this, he can't stop moving, he's impulsive." She said, "What happened to you?" He said, "If you went to sleep, you died." He said, "If you went to sleep, you died." He said, "If you didn't always have your friend's best interest at heart, you died." He said, "If you didn't always look over your shoulder, you died." He couldn't register time. Time takes place in your cortex. So if it ain't reaching the bloodstream, if it's not reaching the cortex, he can't operate normally. He thinks he's on the battlefield still because he's still traumatized. When you got kids that have been through so much trauma and they are operating in survival mode, it's hard for that kid to operate when you think he should. You know how many kids I've visited in the prison system, and I got to break it down to them, and they finally tell me, "Man, it's the first time I ever heard that." And that's a problem, sir. Because you're impulsive, you're moving too fast, you're not even taking time to think about cause and effect or reasoning skills or any of that. Because you're moving too fast. This young man, I was doing a professional development. I remember walking through this school, I can't even mention the state or the city. And the metal detectors went off. And when they grabbed his bag, they searched his bag, this man had a bag full of candy. The principal said, "You can't come in with this candy, you gotta take it back with you." He said, "Sir, I need that bag back." The principal said, "No, I gotta really get this bag." He said, "No, I need that bag back." And I've seen that face before. Listen, I know what it looked like. I'm glad I've been an educator too, because I know what it looked like. I've been on both sides. He said, "I need that bag back." The principal didn't give it to him. He broke the metal detector with his bare hand. The principal said, "Security, get him out of here, security." I said, "No, you all stop." And I broke him down. I said, "Look, man, what does that candy mean to you?" He said, "You wouldn't understand in a million years." I said, "No, I get it, but apparently they don't." I said, "Tell them what that candy means to you, but say it now." And what came out of his mouth, you all shifted the whole room. He said, "If I don't bring that profit home, I don't make rent." I'm 37 years old. If I don't bring mortgage home, it's big for me. And I'm not easy to convince. I'm the last person that you can just say that to and expect me to believe it. We call mom. Mom validated everything this kid said from the top to the bottom. She said, "Sir, he the man of the house." I said, "Ma'am, how dare you?" Because I get what you're saying. But if a kid comes from high socioeconomics or low socioeconomics, it has nothing to do with the kid. If my kid is late for school, it has nothing to do with the kid.
Right.
He said, "My mom is on food stamps, sir." He said, "My mom get her EBT card and she the candy lady in the neighborhood, and what she doesn't sell, I bring it to school and that's my portion of the rent." He said, "I make $20 a day, sir. At the end of the week, that's $100, but at the end of the month, that's $400. I broke down. Because I said, "You are the man of the house." I went to the principal, I said, "Did you know that?" And he said, "No." I said, "That's the problem, sir. Because you was getting ready to send him back into an environment." I said, "Assistant principal, you on duty also?" I said, "Did you know that situation?" She said, "No, but he was a great kid and nobody saw that as a problem." I went to the counselor, I said, "Okay, this is your area." I said, "Did you know that situation?" Nobody. That's how district personnel is in the building. I said, "You matter too, even though you're not around, you matter." Nobody knew this kid's situation. My problem is this. On the way out, I saw Abraham Maslow's name on the wall, and I said, Abraham Maslow theory states this: the longer a person go unfed, the hungrier that person get until a need is fulfilled, that a kid can't operate in a certain capacity. That's not me, that's theory. The special needs of a kid. Come on, Bloom's taxonomy. We all went through this before.
Yeah.
This was the moment. This was your moment to make something happen in this situation. That's why I said greatness is small things done well. You gotta find the core of this. Do you know we are in a situation? I tell principals everywhere across this world, when you got great teachers in your building, you better keep them. You gotta keep them. And it takes 1 second as an administrator to walk by that door and say, you gotta keep it going, because this lady is dealing with life too. Just imagine. I remember going into school and the educators told me, oh, that principal, he the kingpin. I said, what, he said drugs? He was like, no, I'm the kingpin. He said, I write my staff up. I said, how this working for you, sir? I said, because you so prideful on the fact that you write your staff up. I said, but they on the front line with you. And matter of fact, when they get rid of you, they're going to get rid of you before they get rid of the teachers. Right. I said, you making this woman feel bad every day she comes. Like, you just imagine if you just give her everything you got and give her the support. Listen, you need her on the front line. Education, education. Just imagine if she was excited about coming to school. Just imagine if he was excited about coming to school. All of these things matter, because what you all got to see every day, I need everything got to be right. But if you can't give what you don't have, when you burnt out, and you feel like you don't have the support, you all deal with so much. I was in Canada doing a professional development. I got a video sent to my phone, and this would make you all a real superhero. This video was this little lady in my city. She left the high school, and she went to the nearest interstate, and she stood over overpass just like this. And I got two beautiful girls, 12 and 8. I don't work for my first name. I work for my last name. Why do you think I work for my last name more than I work for my first name? My daughter's got my last name. And one thing I understood, when an individual mindset switches from me to we, the driving force is different. So I asked you, who benefits from your existence? Who has the advantage because of your presence? When they get you, what do they get? When you walk in that building, who gets the advantage because you're there? This young lady, I can hear her in the background, this lady was saying, ma'am, please don't jump. Please don't jump. And I would have given my life for her if I was there. This young lady put her legs together and she let go. When I tell you, it broke me down. Because I said, what got to happen for you to get to that point where you feel like enough is enough? If I was that teacher and you left out of my classroom, I probably couldn't teach another day. If I was a security guard on duty and you walked by my security, that was my moment to secure this building. You walked past me and I didn't see it. Everybody role mattered. Everybody role mattered. It broke me down. That was just one situation. I go in another school, second grade, she's a cutter. I'm like, second grade. The principal said, can you please talk to her? I said, sir. He said, she won't open up to nobody. I said, kids don't have secrets. When you get a kid to talking, you gotta sometimes shut them up. You gotta, okay, that's enough. I don't want to hear them. They tell you everything. You gotta build that relationship. I said, give me 5 minutes with her. Within 5 minutes, she told me, she said, you know what's my problem? I said, no, but you get ready to tell me. She said, I lost my mom and dad. I looked back at the principal, I said, you expect her to be normal? I said, my daughters don't operate without me and my wife. You expect her to be normal? She said, but then they separated me from my brother. Now this kid is going through separation anxiety, right? But not only that, she lost 3. And you expect her to come in this building every day and perform when it's bigger than her. These kids that I see every day and that you see, that's why I said you all should be the highest paid, because you see what they see. You watch it every day. I made a post that went viral. Please do not miss the content of this. I said it's a shame how coach can curse this kid out all game to win a game, but the moment a teacher say one thing to the kid is a problem. And I've been a coach before, and I love coaches. You know why coaches got the biggest influence on kids? They see kids after school, they deal with real situations. I love coaches. I've been one, and I'm not on the fence of who should be cursing or not. That is not what I'm saying. But why don't the teacher got the autonomy? Every time a teacher says something, It's a problem. It's a problem. And that came from a family member who told me, can you please go to that school and talk to the teacher? She said something to your nephew. And I said, no, because I watched Coach curse him out the whole game and you said nothing. That's why I love doing parental engagements, right? Because now I get to talk to the parents. And the first thing I'm telling the parent, you should be the teacher, biggest advocate. She's raising your kid. So when you come to the school and you build tension between you and her, let me break this down why you all are the parent. In the morning, I see my daughters from 6 to 7, that's 1 hour. In the afternoon, my daughters got gymnastics, ballet, they taking all my money in the afternoon. I see them again maybe from 7 to 8, they gotta go to bed, that's 3 hours a day, that's 15 hours a week. You all are pulling a 40-hour shift. It's nobody spend more intimate time with our kids than you all. That's why I said we should never be fighting for a pay raise. How? You all are the superheroes. You all make a difference. So the thing, let's make a difference, you making a difference. But you can't take your job for granted. Never walk into that building like you're insignificant. There's a difference between success and significance. Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to others. And that's you all. But I told you, what you allow, first day, it's going to determine everything. What you allow in August, you're going to see it in May. Set the expectations. Day one. Let me tell you all who I am before I close. There was 6 of us in that house, 6. Nobody in my family finished high school. My mom had my older brother at 14. She had my next to the oldest brother at 16. My sister had her first child at 14. You see the generational thing. My mom has 54 nieces and nephews. Not one person in my entire family went to college before me, and I'm the baby boy. There's 6 of us in the house. I'm the baby of 6. My mom and dad didn't make it to high school. I don't understand my perspective now. But before I even get into that, I'm talking about perspective, right? Perspective, because it just hit me. I remember going into an inclusion classroom, and this is how you know these guys, got it? I hate when they tell me school is not for me, but jail is?
Oh, Lord.
You mean to tell me you don't want to be engaged and walk in a straight line and do what she's telling you, but yeah, you're going to go to prison and do 23 hours of lockdown, 1 hour of rent? You're going to take a shot with everybody and you say school is not for you? That's why I can't wait to come to y'all school. Please get me back. But perspective, I remember going in the inclusion classroom and she told me, listen, as long as he got his headphones on, he's playing the game, leave him alone. I said, that's it? I said, but I'm hard-headed, so I went over there and grabbed his headphones. He rapped every song. I said, man, watch this. She was walking real slow too. I said, get over here, watch this. I said, do that one more time. He rapped every song. I said, how long did it take you to learn the album? He said, man, if the album dropped Monday, I learned the whole album by Wednesday. I said, 21 songs? I said, did you hear that, man? I said, regardless of what the plans and the IEPs say, I said, never teach the deficiencies, right? Set the goal, set the benchmark. How long did it take you to learn 21 songs that somebody wrote? He said, if the album dropped Monday, I can learn the whole album by Wednesday, and I was frowning. I said, but she been teaching you chapter 1 the whole year.
That's it.
And you still don't got it. She gave you an open book test. You still don't got it. She sent the book home with you. You still don't have it. Listen, you got a smartphone with dumb habits. You can do the Pythagorean theory on your phone. You can do the 4 method on your phone. You can do 2-step equations on your phone. You can translate Spanish to English on your phone. Everything. And then now y'all got chat. Man, I would never fail in today's time. You all have made education so easy. Listen, a 69 is not an F no more. Why y'all do that when I leave school? Everything is in front. I would never fail in today's time. It's so crazy. In my PhD course, I was a straight A student, but in high school, not even close. You can't give me a test right now and I'm a fit. And today, listen, everything is digital. Like, they don't even know what an overhead projector look like, because listen, I break out in hives every time I see an overhead projector. Because I remember when that teacher used to slide that thing in there and shake that water bottle and spray, oh man. Spray those old notes. Anytime she come in there and cut that light on, I knew we finna take notes all day, baby. But perspective. Now let me dive back into me so you can understand perspective. Perspective, that's what I want you to be thinking. There was 6 of us in the house. I watched my mom try to kill herself in front of me. My mom still takes pills to this day for mental health issues. I watched her try to end it. Then I got to go to school the next day and try to cope with that. I watched my mom and dad fight at night. My mom go back and forth to the hospital. My dad go back and forth to the jail system. They say you're going to be just like him when you grow up, right? Learn behaviors, but it's different between male and female. Let me break this down for you all. If something happened to you, you can call her and you will put her on 3-way. Y'all have this sister meditation group and do yoga. But my king's in the building. Man, I love to see males in the education. Listen to me.
Thank you, brother.
Man, the population of men in here, I'm proud of this. But what happened to us? Man, I call you and I be like, hey man, boy, I was crying today. You hear? I can't even do that in here. This is supposed to be a safe haven. Why is it not okay for me to do that? You know why we don't seek therapy? I just showed you. They laughed when I told you that, right? But imagine this young man that's going through this school system every day, don't even know he can cope. He don't even know that he can feel. It took me a long time even though I had tears, man. Because that ain't manly, right? That's what they tell you. Like we don't supposed to feel. I tried it in here and it didn't work. My dad said, you better stand up straight, stand vertical, don't let them see you weak. Never cry in front of them. Man, that is dehumanization. Because you expect me not to feel. But then when I finally explode, there's a problem, right? When you lock me up and judge say life, you wonder why. You know what he's dealing with? Real demons. He got real stuff in his head, but he's scared to cope. I have to seek therapy for that moment. I'm still trying to unlearn now, right? Hurt children grow up to be suffering adults. Wow. You're not looking at a finished product right now. Yes, I got a PhD, but listen, I struggle. I still go through it. I could have easily came here and stood behind this podium and give you the 5 habits of leadership. No, this is who I am. I still go through problems daily. I'm still trying to unlearn. They told me you're going to marry a lady when you grow up. Same young ladies, same age as me, because I'm different from age groups in my house. I'm the youngest. My older brother had me about 14 years. So I'm the youngest in the house. They said you're going to marry your next door neighbor. She get on the bus with you. I watched her get murdered. Drunk driver killed her instantly. I tattooed her on my arm. You know I've never been to a funeral or a day in my life? Do you know how many people that died around me? Do you know how many family members that died around me? And I can never walk into a funeral right now because when I went in and I touched her body and it was cold. You talking about real struggle? You looking at what persistence look like. You looking at resilience. I've been through the storm and back. I was kicked out of 10 schools. I can't even move furniture to this day. Because every time I move some furniture, it brings me back to a place. We was kicked out of every house we ever stayed in. You know how embarrassing that is to come and see? My mom was a cafeteria worker, my dad was a custodian, right? My mom and dad hustled to make ends meet. They had a gambling addiction. Every day I come home, everything has been pumped, right? My mom shot. I learned how to shoot dice in elementary. I learned I can play cards right now with the best of them. I can talk with anybody here right now. Or deuces, whatever you want to do. But my grandparents taught me that. My house is survival. But now that I'm grown, and I look back and I tell my parents, I'm proud of you all. Because at first I didn't get it. You all were doing the best you could at the time. With what you had, 14, and I applaud you, Pops, because you're younger than my mom. I came from that home. I didn't get the shoes everybody else got. I didn't get the haircuts that everybody else get. And my dad cut my hair and he's not a barber. So imagine why I didn't want to come in that school. Because every day I got to fight for acceptance. I don't have the shoes everybody got. Look at my hair. I separate myself from what makes me different. That's why I can't wait to get in class so I can act up and she send me home. Because I can't read on the level that other kids are, but if I act up, you send me home, right? So what you think I'm going to do every day? I don't have the clothes that everybody got. Cafeteria workers, when I come through that line, that's my only meal. Everybody play a role in this. I was kicked out of 10 schools, 7 elementary schools and 3 middle schools. I got arrested for breaking and entering my 5th grade year. Judge told me in 5, I'd be dead or locked up if I keep it up. I made it to middle school. If you see me, I got a body full of tattoos. I got a tattoo in every part of my body, every part, leg, feet, hand. I started tattooing my body in middle school. I had permanent gold teeth in middle school. Not something you can take out. If you see my mouth now, I got crowns in my front. I had to have surgery a few years ago to get my gold teeth removed. I had this in middle school, permanent. Imagine trying to teach me. I repeated 8th grade. I hated school. School was never a safe haven for me. School was fear. Every day I walked in that building, I knew I was incompetent, and it was hard to teach me. I repeated 8th grade. Only thing I had going for me, you all, was basketball. And I was good at that. See, you all tell me I can go to school and be a lawyer, a doctor, an astronaut. I'm 37 years old. I've never seen an astronaut a day in my life. But you got to keep telling them that you can be a lawyer, doctor, and astronaut. The best two things you can ever give a kid or a person is vision and hope. Just give me something to wake up to, because right now is a disconnect. But so keep telling him he can be a lawyer, a doctor, and an astronaut. But if you don't expose him to what that look like, do you know where I come from? Do you know the neighborhood I stay in? That you see what I got to walk through to get to school? It's not a lawyer stay next door to me. It's not a teacher stay next door to me. It's not a principal. It's not, none of you all stay next door to me. Because when you go to college and you get a good job, you do what? Move. I can hear that. I still know what a bullet feel like to this day. I just heard boom. And I couldn't even move. I remember looking at his pants leg, and he lifted his pants leg up, and his gun was in his pocket. It went off in his pocket accidentally and shot me in the same foot I jumped off. I'm right-handed, so I jump off my left foot. I got shot in my left foot. All my scholarships got taken away. Do you know how hurtful that is? I'm finally trying to do something right. I hate school. But the basketball was my vehicle to get out of the neighborhood. And just imagine all these colleges telling me we can't use you no more. We wanted you for your athleticism. You got shot in the foot, we want it. Listen, you all, I wake up every morning, I'm grateful. Right now with the life I'm living, it's a bonus to me. Because I did everything. This is bonus life for me. Listen, I don't know you all, but we in the church, so let me know it. Every day I wake up and I put my foot on that ground, I'm thanking them. That light bill, what you going through, somebody trading places with you right now. Right now, you think you hurt? You think you struggling? Somebody right now will trade places with you. You talking about hard? I remember a lady told me, why would you go get your PhD? You're a 4-time best-selling author. You travel the world. What you need a PhD for? It ain't about me, ma'am. She said, PhDs are hard. You want me to tell you what's hard? Somebody battling cancer right now. You want me to tell you what's hard? Somebody buried their son last night. You want me to tell you what's hard? Somebody don't know where their next meal is coming from. And you selfish to me because you crying about something that's changeable. Something that's minute. That light bill, I get it, we all struggle. But when I wake up in the morning, I put my foot on that ground, I also know somebody will trade places to have what I got. Listen, you complain about that car all week, but when you don't have one, yeah. I close with this. I was finally able to get back on court. I got a full ride to Missouri State University. It was 6 hours from Jackson, Mississippi. I had to go to the junior college there. One college still took the chance with me. 1.814 on my ACT. They said, but you gotta go to summer school and take 2-3 courses. If you can pass those and push up the GPA up, you'll be eligible in the fall. They said you can pick your courses. Well, I said, well, give me weightlifting, jogging. They said, no, but you got to take something like reading, writing, and math. I said, man. And let me explain to you all. I could write a complete sentence in college. What they teach you in college, they don't teach you in, what they teach you in middle school, they don't teach you in college. I mixed everything. Phonics, I couldn't write you a complete sentence in college. I remember my professor said you would never get a degree like that. Why? Because I cheated my whole way to college. But I got to a place that my character could sustain. I tried to cheat on the young lady next to me. She gonna say, we don't cheat here. I said, why? Coach had already told me if I couldn't maintain a certain GPA, this is why when I come to your school, I'm enjoying, because every time I ask a young man, where you going? Football, I'm going to NBA or NFL. What gives you the right to think that big? You're going to represent the 1% of all male athletes in the world, and you can't even meet NCAA requirements because you're playing through school right now? And it's embarrassing to know that, yes, you could maybe go to the NBA. You could be the first person in your family to get yourself out of this environment, but you can't even protect your transcript. Now you gotta go to junior college because you won't even go to school, and they got artificial intelligence right now. You think a GED gonna be congruent in today's time? Artificial intelligence, I gotta do this. You gotta tell them this way. Just in case I can't come and tell them, you gotta come and tell them this way. When you go out the street down there, you go to Walmart, they got 15 self-checkout lines. You call it convenience because you can scan your groceries and leave. But that was once, 15 jobs. If I replace you with a machine, I don't need you no more. And then it's smart from a business model because if I cut your job and I get a machine that's gonna come to work every day and do exactly what I tell it to, I save millions of dollars. Watch this. Artificial intelligence. It was times where we can catch a taxi or a cab. We can't do that no more. Why? Uber, Lyft, that's an app. More jobs. It was time when we would go to the movie theater as a family. We don't even do that no more. Why? Netflix, Amazon Prime, that's an app. You know who competes with the hotel chains across the country? Airbnb, that's an app. On the way here, I saw Western Union, MoneyGram. You know why we don't do that no more? Cash App. That's it. All right. So young man, when you come in class, they doing self-driving trucks right now. Now, if they cut that, and you got the audacity to come in here and treat school like it's an option. I close with this. One, and I couldn't even write a complete sentence in college. And I'm not ashamed to tell you I didn't know what an adjective or any of that. You might hear me just then say words should have been was. I got you. I taught myself everything in college, everything. That lady told me you would never get a degree from this college. I said, man, who do you think you're talking to? That doctor who told me I'd never play ball the way that bullet hit my foot, who do you think you're talking to? You can close that door, I'm gonna go through that door. You close that door, I'm gonna go through that door. One thing about me to this day, you can be smarter than me, you can have more knowledge than me, but you can't outwork me. And that's to this day. In order to get something you never had, you gotta do something you never did to become a person you've never been. Wait, that was good, let me say that one more time. In order to get something you never had, you got to do something you never did and become a person you've never been. The person you used to be and the person you aspire to be can't be in the same room. You can't be who you used to be and who you aspire to be at the same time. The hardest thing some of you all will ever have to do is change. And that's the hardest thing because you're accustomed to a certain way of living. But change is on the other side of that. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So if it doesn't challenge you, it don't change you. Right. I close with this, and I'm not ashamed to tell you I couldn't write a complete sentence because if you look behind me, I'm Dr. Nanda. 1.8 GPA, 14 on my ACT, 19 when I graduated from high school, kicked out of 10 schools, repeated 8th grade, shot my senior year, locked up my 5th grade year. Now, bachelor's degree in education, master's degree in early childhood, PhD in executive leadership and higher education, 4-time best-selling author, president and CEO of my company, and I just left Jennifer Hudson. Don't tell me what you can't do. Educators, I love you all. If you want that kid to give you everything you got, there you got it. Give him your shoulder to lean on. Say yes when everybody's telling him no. He follows 7, make him get up 8. And who am I? I'm Dr. Tommie Mabry, you all. I wrote a quote that said, I cannot walk in my future with my foot in my past. God bless you all. That's my name.
Thank you so much. No, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Before I go, if you can hear my voice clap 1 time. You hear my voice clap 2 times. I'm sorry, I just always wanted to do that. If you can go back to my main picture, because I'm gonna leave with this, but I gotta go to Rhode Island soon. But if you can follow me on all sites, I'm gonna follow you all back. Take a picture of the screen. That's my website. I got a book for all.